Panasonic's GH3 camera is known for its video capabilities. However, in order for you to take full advantage of the video capabilities of the GH3 camera, you have to know how to set it. Many people have had difficulty figuring out how to set the camera, as it is a very sophisticated camera. I'm going to walk you through 4 easy steps to learn how to set up your camera properly. Now, the 2 main buttons you're going to have to use to do this setup is the menu button right here and the display button right there. So without further ado, let's move forward. The first step in setting up your GH3 for video is to set your contrast, sharpness, saturation, and noise reduction. So the first thing you're going to want to do is press your menu set button right here. Once you see this display, the next thing you're going to want to do is to touch this. Now you can see your custom setup. It says custom setup here, and then it says standard, and then it says vivid, natural, monochrome, scenery, portrait. And what you want to do is you want to set all of them to the same thing. You want to set your contrast to -2, your sharpness to -2, your saturation to -2, and your noise reduction to -2. And again, so you're going to want to go through each one of these menus and do the same thing for all of them. So you have, again, monochrome, scenery, portrait, custom, standard, vivid, natural. And again, it's just the same thing. You just go down, and the way you change it is you just, you go back and forth on the wheel, right? So you're going to want to bring these down to -2 each. And then the noise reduction to -4. So once you've done that, just hit set, and then you're good to go. So that's your first step. The next step is to set your aperture and your shutter speed. Now, the way you're going to do that is hit your display button right here. Now what happens is when you press this button, you're going to have to keep pressing it until you see a particular menu. And I'll show you the menu in a second. Keep pressing the display button. So go back to the main menu, and then hit your display button till you see this. This is where you set your aperture and your shutter speed. Now, in order to have shallow depth of field, you're going to want this to be f8.0, and just hit this, and then again on one of the wheels, the lower wheel, just you can keep spinning it till you get it to 8.0, and this gives you a shallow depth of field. And again, you hit set there, and then to set your shutter speed, hit where it says 1.1/125, just touch that, and the same thing. You can just keep spinning it till you get to 125, okay, and then hit set. Now there is an issue. Sometimes this display doesn't show up because for whatever reason somebody turned it off. So you might want to reset your camera. And the way you reset your camera is you go over to on your menu button here. Go over to setup and keep going down to the 5th screen on setup, which is right here, and you'll see reset. Now if you hit reset, just say it's going to ask you to reset both. There's 2 things. You're going to reset this one. I don't want to do it now because I don't want to reset my camera, but if you hit yes, and it's going to ask you again to reset another setting, say yes to both, go back, and that menu, that display that shows you the aperture and shutter speed will show up. That's just in case it doesn't show up, because that happened to me on one of my cameras. I actually have 2 GH3s. One, the display would show up, and then on the other one it didn't, and I had to find out why, but that's the reason. You got to set that up. Now the next thing you're going to want to do is change your exposure mode. So go down to here. Again, it's on the motion picture part of the menu, and it's on the first series of screens in this particular mode. and go to exposure mode and select M. Now they have PAS, you want M, so hit M. So that's the next step. Now the final step is to select your recording quality. So again, on the motion picture screen, pick record quality, which is the third one down, and it's going to ask you, do you want, all these different selections. So the one you want is HD 60pI. So if you see there, it says Movie I HD 60p. Now this is really good for video quality. If you're shooting a movie, you might want 24p, but for this particular one, you want 60p. If you want this quality of video like I'm doing right now, that's what I'm using is Movie I HD 60p. That'll get you this type of quality. So that's essentially the end of it. Now, one thing to remember is that your shutter speed should always be double of what your frame rate is. So the reason why the shutter speed is at 125 is because the frame rate's at 60 frames per second. So that's essentially it. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thank you.